What's it? Toby G and JD show, where every hour is happy hour here in Southwest Florida. How you doing, JD?
Doing good. How you doing, Toby G? It's good to be back.
I'm doing great. We have our sponsors, myangelscloud.com, a website where they have a lot of great articles, not in the mainstream news, natural health articles, recipes, organic recipes, honors of the military. We get a lot of our information from that site. And also from Big Berkey. Big Berkey, you can go to myangelscloud.com. Water filtration system and a lot of products that they have. Just click on the ad, and you can have all these items. I mean, you could take swamp water and turn it into pure water. I have one myself. I've had for several years because we're down in the hurricane area, and if we ever lost our power, which I did once for about 2 weeks. And it comes in awfully handy. You ought to check it out, especially in the world we live in. And we have computers and websites done right.
Yeah, I hear that they're pretty good. They do a lot of remote services. They offer, in-house and also here at the office work. So computer repair, website design, social media marketing, branding for your business. They do it all.
I used them about a week ago. They went right into my computer. You could see them working on it, and I trusted them as they went from India or Nicaragua or wherever else these other companies use. And you knew it was somebody in the United States, and they're a reputable company. They've been around for a lot of years, and we know the people personally. So it's a great company. But I want to start out today. I mean, we're trying to take a common sense approach to our program.
We should probably tell them about our new 800 number. It's 844-429-3579. And if you'd like to email us, it's tobygandjdshow@gmail.com. We'd like to hear from you if you have any ideas on what you'd like to hear us talk about, or if you'd like to be interviewed. We'd be happy to hear from you. Again, the number is 844-429-3579.
And please subscribe to our podcast. It'll be out at least once a week. And we're going to have a lot of good things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about finance, stock picks, natural health. We got a lot of good things going to be happening. We're going to probably have a couple of contests coming up. And we're going to have fun doing this. And we're going to try not to get your blood pressure up. We're going to talk about things that are not in the mainstream news. And going to try to stay away from things that are highly controversial, because a lot of what's going on today is people aren't talking to each other. So I think it's important that we start talking to each other in a civil manner. The country is so divided. Parents and children aren't talking because they have different political agendas, and we really need to start listening to each other. And maybe you're not going to change somebody's mind, but you're definitely not going to change their mind when you start talking over them. When people talk over the other person, it's usually the person that's talking over them doesn't really have the facts, so you know who the loser is right at first. But there shouldn't be any winners and losers, because we have differences of opinion, and we should be able to discuss them. What do you think, JD?
I agree. I think that it's a shame when you can't discuss civilly, about things going on in the world, or things going on in our country or our state. You just got to be able to communicate. And I think the biggest reason a lot of people are having problems communicating is these cell phones. I have mine with me all the time, and you go out to eat, and you sit there and you see people not saying a word, talking on their phones to each other. Maybe talking to each other, I don't know. And it just, it's one thing if you run your business through your phone, that you got to take calls, you got to take messages. But that's a big issue with me as far as I'm concerned. I was just looking on Facebook, speaking of a phone, and a huge sinkhole just opened up and it swallowed 2 houses up around Land O'Lakes.
Yeah, I heard
here in Florida.
Yep. It's the big.
At least 10 homes had to be evacuated. They're talking that it could swallow up even more than these 2 homes. I just watched the one fall in.
Wow.
The hole. So.
All right, yeah, it's the biggest one ever recorded.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard it on the radio a little while ago. But yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't bring my phone when I go out to dinner. I don't even bring it in the car. If I know I'm going out to dinner, I leave it home.
Well, and that's understandable, but for like a person like myself who has a business, I have to keep mine with me. But
You saying I don't do anything?
well, I set it to the side and I concentrate on whoever I'm with and try to pay attention to them because it's important. That's why you're there. It's not just to have a meal, but to communicate and talk with whoever it is, whether it's a friend, a family member, or your partner. It doesn't matter. You should spend some time. I've seen a lot of restaurants now have a little box. You can get 10% off your meal if everybody puts their phones in the box on the table and not pick up the phone. And I think that's a new
That's
thing.
cute.
That's a good trend. I like the idea. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
And I would be willing to do that because I still have my watch.
Okay, yeah, your Mickey
I'll
Mouse.
still get my calls on the watch.
Yeah, Mickey Mouse watch there.
Yeah, I get my Mickey Mouse watch.
Yeah, that works pretty good actually. But yeah, and people need to start talking to each other again in a civil manner, and we're not always going to agree. I mean, we could tear people apart back and forth, and I mean, it's not going to solve anything.
No.
You got to have a good conversation and keep a level head, and let's try to get over this diversity that we have. I think it's overdone, and I see people get so excited, and they can't wait to have a debate with you because they're going to beat you. Well, I don't want to beat you, and I don't want you to beat me. I just want to have a sensible conversation. If it's going to be a beat down, I don't even want to get into it because I don't want to have a freaking stroke.
I know you don't watch the news. I understand.
No, I don't. I don't turn the news on.
I had the news on the other day. They had the head of the DOC or the Republican Party and the Democratic Party sitting in the same room side by side, and the guy asked them about health care. And of course, neither one of them could agree on which way to go.
Right, sure.
And that is the problem with the two-party system that we're having, is that they don't want to work together and come. They both had common areas, but they didn't talk about them. They talked about the areas that were different. And if these people that are supposed to be leading our country don't start talking and communicating with each other, the rest of us are not going to do it either. And that's just, they're our leaders, supposedly. They're not doing a very good job.
Well, they are leading the country right down the toilet.
Right down the toilet.
Right
And
down
they
the
need to-
toilet.
that's why we need to drain the swamp and get rid of everyone
Well,
that's ever been in there and start afresh. They should be working for free. It's a privilege to be there. And,
It is a privilege, and you need term limits.
Yeah, one term.
And do away with the lobbyists. Lobbyists are killing this country because a congressman, senator will get in there, and next thing you know, they don't have a lot of money, and next thing you know, they come out, they're millionaires. So that's why they change their mind, they go in there, or they get caught cheating on their wife, and somebody's got a recording of it, and so forth and so on. And just like the John Roberts thing with Obamacare, somebody had something on him. You're not going to change my mind on that. I really believe it, because he didn't follow the Constitution when he voted, and they had something on him. There's no question in my mind. Do I have proof? No. But I firmly believe that, because anybody with their right mind wouldn't have voted the way he did. But anyway, that being said, I think that we all ought to come together and start, because a lot of things are happening that are not in the mainstream news. I mean, I don't turn on CNN, which is the worst. I mean, I don't even know why they're in business. I really like MSNBC. I don't watch it. I don't believe their philosophy, but they have the guts to come out and say, we are a left-wing organization, and we believe we're against Trump, and we believe. I respect their position. Okay, Fox News, I know they're right-leaning somewhat, but they're coming to the left, and all these opinion shows, I don't even turn them on anymore. The only one that I listen to is Tucker Carlson, because I think he's a good debater. He brings up good subjects, and he doesn't lean left or right in his debates and so forth. And he's usually debating a left-winger, and I mean, he tears them apart. But that being said, other than that, I do not turn the television on. I listen to some talk shows on the air. I heard one this morning with a liberal and a right-winger, and they were both agreeing, saying just what I said, and actually that's where I got the idea of this comment. They were talking about being civil. They were talking civil to each other on the same show, and they encourage other people to have debates, and I think they should. So that's my spiel.
Oh, I agree.
Well, a couple other things going. Several a podcast prior to this, I talked about a cashless society.
Right.
And I think that that's where we're going. They're already starting in India, Belgium, Australia, and even today, people don't walk around that much cash in their pocket. And eventually, which I think is very bad, incidentally, I'm 100% against it, 1,000% against it. But in the Wall Street Journal yesterday, they had an article. Visa found 50 restaurants, and they offered them $10,000 each to stop accepting cash or any other forms of payment except Visa. They're saying they want to get away from cash. And by getting away from cash, I don't think that's going to happen. That would hurt a restaurant because some restaurants, they would lose some customers that still want to pay cash. So I don't see how these restaurants would go along with it. They're not offering this to any e-commerce business, internet businesses, but they did offer it to 50 restaurants, $10,000 each if they went with that system. And that just goes to show you, there's proof again that they're trying to get away from a cashless society. Naturally, Visa would benefit, MasterCard would benefit, American Express, and the rest of them. But at the same time, that's the trend, and that's an awful trend. You see, JD, you know tech. I mean, people hack in every day.
Yeah, that's, Verizon got hit here last week. Mm-hmm. If you've got a Verizon cell phone, you better call out there and find out if you're one of the names that was hit and see what they're offering to take care of the problem, because that's not a good thing. And all the big companies are getting hit, and it's, you just have to be so cautious. It's just a shame. And if we're going to go to cashless system, what's next after that?
Yeah, well, it's a dangerous situation. And, again, some of this in committees in the government that are really talking about this, and the mainstream news is not picking this up. And I bringing it up, you're thinking I'm a conspiracy theorist, and I'm not. We need to be careful of an EMP attack. An EMP attack by hackers or an explosion 40 miles up above our atmosphere, which China could do and blame it on North Korea, which Russia could do and blame it on North Korea, which North Korea probably could do because they're way ahead of what Clinton, Bush, and Obama and all the rest of them thought as far as advancement on their missiles. They would 9 out of 10 people would die in the first year if that happened to the United States. So we need to be aware of those things, and we really need to pay attention. There's a book out, I read this several years ago, it's called 1 Second After. And it's not true, it's fiction, but it's a good read, and it's exactly what would happen if we got hit with an EMP. So I encourage you to go out and buy the book, look for the book. It's been around for a while. It's called 1 Second After, and it's a good read. It'll give you an idea what would actually happen if we had an EMP happened here, and which I also think that, maybe it's up the Army sleeve, maybe this government sleeve is to do an EMP on North Korea, which would knock out all their electric and then bomb the hell out of their nuclear facilities. But that would be the right thing to do, I guess. I'm not that smart, so I don't know. But I'm just throwing that out. But that's something I think that.
I think the biggest thing that, from what I've read and heard about the reason why they don't use force on North Korea right now, is that North Korea has thousands of artillery guns pointed at South Korea, and between that and the missiles that they'll fire on Japan, before they get a chance, before it gets done, if they find wind that it's coming or whatever, they could do a lot of damage. So that's the biggest thing. They're trying to figure out a way to do it without, killing a lot of people that don't need to be killed. And I don't see how it's going to happen. I mean, this guy's a nutcase, and it's as simple as that. No matter what you do, if they let them go ahead and get the nuclear bomb, there's no way they're going to ever get them to stop it. Once it's there, it's there. And that's the problem. They don't need to be a nuclear power.
No, absolutely. But I got one for you, JD. Let's see if you have the answer to this. Okay, now pay attention. If you don't read the newspaper, you are uninformed. If you do read the newspaper, you are misinformed. Who made that quote?
I have no idea, but that's interesting.
Mark Twain.
Mark Twain.
Yeah, how's that one? All right, I like that one. You know? And another thing, this is going to take a second, okay? So you can have a nap if you want. As you walk up the steps to the building which houses the U.S. Supreme Court, you can see near the top of the building a row of the world's lawgivers. And each one is facing one in the middle, who is facing forward with a full frontal view. It is Moses, and he is holding the Ten Commandments. Did you know, as you enter the Supreme Court room, the two huge oak doors have the Ten Commandments engraved on each lower portion of the door? Did you know, as you sit inside the courtroom, you can see the wall right above the Supreme Court judges sit, a display of the Ten Commandments? Did you know there are Bible verses etched in the stone all over the federal building and monuments in Washington, D.C.? Did you know James Madison, the fourth president known as the father of our Constitution, made the following statement: "We have stocked the whole of our political institutions upon capacity of mankind for self-government, upon the capacity of each and all of us to govern ourselves, to control ourselves, to sustain ourselves according to the commandments of God." And I'm not being religious here. Every session of Congress begins with a prayer by a paid preacher whose salary has been paid by the taxpayer since 1777. Did you know 52 of the 55 founders of the Constitution were members of the established Orthodox churches in the colonies? Did you know Thomas Jefferson worried that the courts would overstep their authority and instead of interpreting the law would begin making law anarchy, the rule of few over many? How then have we gotten to the point where everything we have done for 220 years in this country is now suddenly wrong and unconstitutional? I found that on myangelscloud.com, and I thought it was interesting. I never knew that, and I thought it would be a little tidbit that I could throw out to everybody.
Amazing.
I've talked enough, Judge. Your turn. My God.
Well, I don't know what to talk about. I'm sitting here listening to some of the stuff that you're coming up with, and I'm wondering, it's just...
Well, you got something in tech going on here?
Well, just the usual hackings and, viruses and malware and, the usual stuff. I mean, it's not a whole lot different than any other day. You need to make sure you back up your data. If you don't know how, reach out to our sponsor, Computers and Websites Done Right. Their number is 941-240-2675. Doesn't matter where in the world you are. If you call them, they can help you. You just have to back up your data, make sure you're running something that's going to protect your computer, keep your machine updated. It doesn't matter if you have a Mac or a PC.
Yeah, well, it's... last time we talked, I say this every time on all of our podcasts. If you can't touch it, you don't own it.
Oh.
You don't think I was going to forget that, do you?
No, I think it's important that you touch it and own it.
Yep, exactly. Because if you buy anything and if you can't touch it, you don't own it. It's just like when you buy your car and you're financing it, you don't own that car unless you have the title and you can touch the title. Like your house, you don't own it unless you can touch the deed. It's in your hands, and you can touch the deed, and you have you don't have a mortgage on it. That house is not yours. You're renting it from the bank or whoever the loan is from. Same thing with a car. Brings me to buying gold and silver. First of all, never buy gold and silver as an investment. You should buy gold and silver on a regular basis, monthly, whether it's $100 a month or $1,000 a month, and you should store it safely in your home. We'll talk about where to store it later.
Yeah, we were going to talk about that the last couple of times.
Where to store it?
Yeah, we need to
I can
talk about that sometime.
Well,
maybe the next episode.
Okay, the next episode. I can give you a couple of them, but you should do that, and you should buy it as an insurance policy, not as an investment. Because gold has been, and silver, but gold has been currency. It's been money, not currency, but it's been money since before Roman days, and it still is today. You'll hear Yellen, Greenspan, all of these people. They think, well, gold is not money. I mean, they're crazy. All right, they're just saying that to you. You don't be a sheep. Okay, be a leader and be smart and look it up and read about it. Gold is the only real money today. This country was much more solid before we did away with the dollar being backed by gold. And since then, this country's gone to hell in a handbasket. Everything is about debt. When that explodes one of these days, which is the next one that's going to explode, is going to be the college loan debt. I read today in Zero Hedge that it's all already showing the bubble's starting to crack. But without going there and changing the subject, buy gold on a monthly basis, touch it, bring it home. There's several places you can put it. If you got a safe at home, put it in your safe. And there are some other places, some ideas I'll give you in future podcasts. But if you don't own it, if you don't touch it, you can't touch it, you don't own it. Oh, they're coming for you, John. You hear that?
Yeah, I hear them.
They're coming for you. Hey, did you know that it was in yesterday? The administration has set up a committee that they're investigating. They want to investigate the state's voter rolls to look for people that are not registered to vote that should be voting. And Colorado had a huge number of voters take their name off the voter rolls. What does that tell you, JD?
My biggest concern is the information that they're going to give the feds. The Republicans talk about no smaller government, but yet here they want all this information, and they're wanting to get involved in the state's business. Yeah, the states need to do what they're supposed to do. If there's illegals getting on the voter registration, they need to get them off of there. You need to follow the Constitution. That's what it's there for. And maybe they need to find a way to make the states, whether they're Democratic or Republican, go by the rules.
You have a lot of these governors that are encouraging illegals to sign up to vote, and they encourage people to be able to vote even though they don't have a photo ID and so forth, which tells me, I bet you they need a photo ID to get their EIB card. Is it EIB card?
I'm not sure.
The welfare card, EBT card, and or anything else, any other public assistance. You need to buy a bottle.
You've got to have a photo ID to get any kind of help in Florida. I don't know about the rest of
the rest of the country. You need photo IDs to get assistance. So if you don't have a photo ID to vote, you shouldn't be able to vote.
I don't think you can vote without a photo ID.
Yes, you can. In many states, you can.
Which states?
California. I believe Virginia. Terry McAuliffe's the left-wing governor there. He's a wacko. That state, there's several states. But at least I named 2 out of the 50. But there are a number of them that don't require. And a lot of judges come out and say you're holding down the minorities. You know what's holding down the minorities? The politicians that say it's holding down the minorities, because you say it enough, the minorities believe this is holding them down. I mean, you're not opening the doors and opening your arms to everybody in this country and giving them an opportunity to get ahead. You're putting them down all the time, and that's the one way of putting them down. Oh, you're depressing the minorities. You keep saying it enough, they believe it. I mean, you say that about white people, they're going to believe it. You talk about somebody that's old, you say, you're an old man, and he might have felt young until you said it 10 times. Now he's feeling old. You say it enough, it sinks into their mind. Somebody that feels terrific, you say, you don't look too good. All of a sudden they don't feel good. I mean, you put something in somebody's mind, and it's absolutely nuts. It's the power of suggestion, and it's going on by the politicians. And incidentally,
there is a lot of states that don't require a document to vote. California, Nevada, Oregon, Wyoming, New Mexico, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, Illinois, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, North Carolina, New York, Vermont, New Jersey, D.C., Maryland, Maine. Those do not require a document to vote. Now, ID requested, photo not required, there's a bunch of those. Not as many.
So tell me where the sense of it is.
And then the photo ID requested, there's a few of those in strict non-photo ID. There's Ohio and North Dakota and Arizona, so they don't have to have an ID. And then the strict photo ID is Georgia, Mississippi, Tennessee, Virginia, Indiana, Wisconsin, and Kansas City. So out of all the states, only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 require you that you have to have an ID.
Florida does, doesn't it?
No, Florida is one of the photo ID requested,
Oh,
not required.
it should be required.
It should, yeah, and so that's something that we need to work on. Each state needs to take that and correct it. There's no doubt about it. Michigan's looks like they're a photo ID request as well. And I'm just amazed that there's so many states that don't require a document to vote.
So that opens up the door for voter fraud,
Well, of course it does.
which is being done in every state.
Well, at least every state except those 3, 4, 5, 6,
Right.
7 of them that require it. Yeah.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's amazing when you look something up and it blows your mind when you dig into it. I mean, it's really really crazy. But there's a couple of other things I have on my agenda.
You have an agenda?
Oh, listen, I picked this up this morning. I just throw things together. But this is what JD and I do. This is 90% off the cuff. Do a few notes that I find that's interesting and so forth. And hopefully our listeners and soon our viewers, because we're going to be doing this on the beach and we'll be on YouTube and any podcasts that have videos. You'll be able to see JD and I on the beach at happy hour drinking our cocktails.
That's a scary thought, seeing me on the
seeing either one of us, John here, JD, we're going to have a good time doing that. But that's coming. And we'll be having Andrew back because Andrew, we had him on a couple of past podcasts on finance. He has a background in finance. I was warming him up, and we were having a little contest on stocks. I won on the stocks, so I picked 2 and bought 2. And I sold them and made money on them. He had put prices in that he wasn't able to buy them, but we're going to be having a contest between him and me. And then as we go, we're going to have a couple of contests on our show, and there's going to be a lot of things coming up that are interesting. But this came up I found this again in the Wall Street Journal. There's Blue Apron out there, which is a company that if you go online, they call them. You get regular meals prepared by chefs in the mail, refrigerated. And all you have to do is add the ingredients. In 30 minutes, you got a gourmet meal. And it's been very, very popular. I understand that the stock is down a little bit on the company because they're having huge costs on shipping. Shipping is a killer. But another company has come out, and the company's name is, ready for this? If I can find it here. I got the... why can't I find the name of the company?
I'm sure it's there.
Well, I'm sure it's there too. Anyway, what you do is you pay $400 for an oven that is cooks by steam, and a lot of people have already bought the oven, and the meals come to you, and you take the cover off, put them in there, and it cooks it by steam, and in 10 minutes you've got a gourmet meal with top quality food. And this is really catching on, especially the people that can afford to buy an oven for $400. And these meals are costing on average of $12 a piece, which is naturally maybe more than double of what you can cook a meal at home. But for the convenience of the working millennial, if there are any left, or someone working families that are higher income, they can afford this. But it's called Tovola. Tovala. That's the name of the new company, Tovola. And it's a new trend that's coming. I know that they're probably it's a springboard off of Blue Apron, but which has become
there's actually
pretty popular.
several companies like Blue Apron out there. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty nice if there's only 2 people. You get 2 meals. It's $40 probably for for the 2 meals. I mean, and it's not that bad if you're going out.
Right.
You know, and it's prepared right there, all like you said, all the seasons. I like the idea. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to test you again, JD. Here's another truth, great truth. Suppose you were an idiot, and suppose you were a member of commerce. But then I repeat myself.
You said you said I was a member of Congress or
No,
Congress?
I said suppose you were an idiot.
Yeah.
Were an idiot. And suppose you were a member of commerce at the same time. Congress at the same time. But then I repeat myself.
Yeah, that's right. They're idiots.
Who said that?
I'm not sure.
Mark Twain. It's another Mark Twain, 2 in a row. I got you.
Mark Twain is on the ball, man.
I thought, again.
He had this shit all figured out.
Yeah, it's figured out all right. Yeah, things are crazy.
Hey, let's take a little break and talk about our sponsors again, and also our phone number and email. It's phone number is 844-429-3579, and you can email us at tobygandjdshow@gmail.com. Again, if you have any ideas or things that you would like us to talk about, or if you want to be interviewed, we'd be happy to hear from you and see if we can't get that taken care of. Our sponsors, of course, are Computers and Websites Done Right. They're located in Venice, Florida. Their number is 941-240-2675. They do computer repair work. They do on-site as well as over the internet. PCs, servers, networks, home computers, Macs. It doesn't matter. Whatever we need to do, we'll take care of it. Also, website design and social media marketing and branding for businesses. So let me know if there's anything we can do to help out. And I think Toby can tell you more about the other sponsor.
Yeah, myangelscloud.com, a sponsor of ours. We get a lot of our information from them. They honor the military. You go there, you can go to the Big Berkey site, and everybody should have a Big Berkey. I mean, I have one. My daughter have ones. What do they cost? In the low 2s.
That's not bad.
Different sizes, and I mean, it's for an emergency. You can't beat it. They have water storage. They have filters. They have cooking ovens for if the power's out and so forth. I mean, this is something that every family could have. It doesn't go bad.
It's sad that you're seeing more and more of that stuff on a lot of channels at night, talking about the food that won't go bad and how to get the water and all that stuff.
Sure, yeah. But and before our show ends, I just have one more thing to say. I thought that this was really, really funny. An American journalist hears about an elderly rabbi who has been praying at the Kotel, the Western Wall, twice a day, every day for over 5 decades. Sure enough, she visits the Holy Wall, and there he is. She watches him engrossed in prayer, and then he turns to leave, and she introduces herself and asks for an interview. So how long have you been coming here to pray? The rabbi says, for about 50 years. That's amazing. What do you pray for? I pray for peace with our neighbors. I pray for all the hatred to stop, and I pray for all the children to grow up in safety and friendship. And how do you feel, sir, after doing this for 50 years? The rabbi answered, like I'm talking to a wall. We'll end the show on that.
That sounds good. Thank you all. We'll talk to you next week.
Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast.